Hey guys, it's me, Pikmaster123, here with another video, and today I am showing you the Pikmin 4 demo. Now, I didn't have the correct recording software ready and stuff, so instead I had to record through the Nintendo Switch, which is screen record function, and then I moved that over to my editing softwares. So if you're wondering why stuff is sort of weird, that may be the problem. Besides that, hope you guys enjoy, and I'll leave you off with this cutscene.
トムスはキャプテンオリマーウィンドゲロヌルデドルピンレブリーイマラストドルマストソンロースデリーリポスラパーTugnur para Dimara Mor Brookban Webo Pugna to Pikmin Lama to Pikmin, so Luolinima. Topor, Lavarastaro to Bar. Weba, Pelaba, Pugna to Lokuru, Nurunto, Lava. Matarast when. Ribugam, lava la starmane, Windows para, rivari kefna.
So this intro segment is you gathering a ton of Pikmin. And what I didn't know at the time was that in this intro segment, there are actually 100 Pikmin. And then one of my later playthroughs, where I went through and looked at a ton of stuff, that's when I figured it out. Also, the SS Dolphin is a little bit different than the Pikmin 1 game, from what I remember. I'm pretty sure it only had... I'm pretty sure the only main visual difference is that it only had 3 landing fins instead of just the 4 that you see right now. And all the tutorials is a little long and stuff, and right there you can see what we are gonna have to face in the future. And it wasn't really much of a fight. But besides that, the onion looks completely different from the rest of the games. And it looks a little bit differently too. And I sort of didn't like exactly how it worked. Also, there's a bunch of like small little Easter eggs that you can see around the map. And one of the things is, whenever you see human technology and stuff in the game, you can like read clearly what's on it. Well, whoever's writing is on the post-it notes that are right in front of you whenever you start this game is absolutely terrible. Besides that, it shows how to use the voyage log and other stuff.
No.
And like it says right here, there's a whole message log too, so you can go back to the very beginning of the game and start reading all that again if you wanted to. I don't know anyone who would, but... And in this starting segment, I'm just skipping out a lot of the Pikmin stuff because it takes a while. After you get a certain amount of Pikmin, this little audio cue will show up, and your pup will now lead you to the part. However, you don't really want to go there yet. You want to keep on collecting Pikmin, and I would collect up to 100 whenever this officially comes out, because it makes the fight a one-hit. You literally can, if you get all 100 Pikmin and do exactly what it says for the fight, the boss will go down in one attack. Without 100 Pikmin, it's gonna take you 2 attacks for some reason. And I like the idea of it being a ranged artillery, sort of like a ballista. And I'm also skipping past the boss fight because it was just as it was in the video. And then he finally gets his device, which was also a ship part in Pikmin 1, which did absolutely nothing for you in that game. But now the timeline has changed, and so is his ship somehow.
The beep, not the bogey. Loso, mamapotten, dube. Weba. Come on, slow. Caparasjun, dor, los.
Yeah.
No fool no say.
Speaking of double shipwrecks, it gets worse.
Leva, tu papchilu, dolon. Nubu, no, mas pera bar.
And here's where the game officially starts taking off, and you get to actually choose your own character and make an ID badge. However, your home planet will always be the same, along with a bunch of other stuff. But besides that, I made a character, and then we hopped into the starting cutscene.
Vaya, y para perla. Waratu, Bogyu, the Lampa. Mamana, doing a spa.
Also, I do like how the spacesuit you choose changes the color of also the ship and everyone else's spacesuit and stuff. The ship was a nice touch, though. And here's where we can use the dog, Ochi. Now, I think they made the dog a little too overpowered. At least in this beginning segment. And you get to meet your first teammate within like the first 10 seconds after getting the dog. And this is the communications officer, which he doesn't do much except ask you if you want to begin the day. And I think he's more of an engineer, figuring he can figure out a bunch of other stuff coming up here in a second. And he also shows you more functions of your Nintendo Switch tablet. And there is the ship. I mean, it's a lot bigger than every other ship we've seen in the Pikmin series. So they got that down. Also, all of these cutscenes that have like something happening, like the dog digging, they take forever. Instead, they just filled it with dialogue every couple of seconds, and they don't speed it up compared to how it would normally take a certain amount of time. Like, you'd think they'd speed it up a little bit comparing to other tunnels that you'll be digging up in game. Also, some of the voice dialogues, like the dialogue options that you can choose for once, they're pretty funny. There are a couple pretty funny ones. Especially if you keep on using the same dialogue option that they tell you to use, and then you suddenly use a different one. There are a little bit of changes that happen between those. Yeah, and this little intro segment is also sort of funny because I was trying to punch these guys, but you couldn't punch it as long as OT's next to you. And then the captain, the commander, gets mad at you by asking if you let the dog do all the work. Meanwhile, you just saw me punch all of those things. Heck, one time I even sent him away into a corner and did all the work completely. Same dialogue. And, yeah, apparently the dog only listens to you and the captain. Although the captain doesn't do anything because he's afraid of everything. Also, sparklium. Definitely not nuclear radiation. Figuring the strawberry doesn't quote-unquote sparkle. I mean, you can think of it as whatever you want, but let's just say in Pikmin 1, they said everything was irradiated. And I'm guessing that this is also irradiated. Figuring that's one of the only power sources that can come from absolutely everything is radiation. Heck, eat enough more bananas than humanly possible, and you can have radiation poisoning. And now they just have you look around the whole area for stuff and make OT drag stuff back. And, it doesn't take too long. For the most part. Although they have constant dialogue through the whole thing, so if anyone's mad that I'm talking over dialogue, let's just say when I do my series, I will also yet again be talking over them because there's too much dialogue. I mean, not too much dialogue, but still, I'm talking over them no matter what. I'm not being interrupted by a game that you can't even understand the players unless, or the characters inside of it, through the normal voices. And then you pretty much have to go through the entire area, and right there in the ground on the left is the onion. And you can also see a lot of stuff in the background too if you tilt the camera right. Especially something you might have caught just a second ago. But yeah, this intro area is sort of slow, to be honest. And there is the new onion that looks... I sort of don't like how it looks, to be honest. It's not like all of the other onions, which were part mechanical or didn't look completely organic. Like, I think those looked a little better. And yes, even more dialogue options about OT carrying some. And then the onion takes control and sets itself up. Which, compared to all the other onions that you can encounter in the game, none of them do this for some reason. Like in Pikmin 3, all the onions would set themselves up until they combined while flying. This game is different, as in they don't all set themselves up for some reason. And then we skip all the Pikmin stuff because, to be honest, it stops you every couple of seconds. And also, I did have limited recording space on the Switch itself when I was playing this. And now we're sucking all the radiation from all these objects, finally powering the ship. And also, Colin goes on a whole speech about it can't be powered solely on this, or it's not made to be powered solely on radiation, but we can do it. We'll just have one heck of a bumpy ride. And then they talk about an AI they bought with the last of their money that just names objects. And the fact that Colin could fix all this, being a communications officer, means that he's more of an engineer. And yeah, pretty much you talk to her for upgrades for the dog. You talk to Colin when you're ready to go someplace. And this is a nice little area to buff up your Pikmin numbers a little bit. Because if you get a Pikmin extinction of any Pikmin type, you can just go back here and get like a good 12 more Pikmin of that type if you want to. I think it's more like 12. But yeah, and another thing that's different between this game and all the others. Normally you could have up to 100 Pikmin before you max out on the field, but now you start with 20. Now, there have been a lot of theories. And how about I throw my own here? So, something later they call a dead onion, and this they call the normal onion. Well, I don't call this a normal onion. I think this is a young onion. Figuring the fact that it can't have up to 100 Pikmin, when in the beginning of the game, in that intro segment with Olimar, you can get up to 100 Pikmin in the field. So that's a mature onion, and this one is just young compared to that. And it's also smaller, so that could also be the case for that. And it does take a decent amount of time to load some of these areas. And you can see a lot of interesting things in the background while these places are loading. which does give you a lot of hints. Like right there is the fruit from the first boss in Pikmin 3, and a bunch of other stuff. Heck, when you start out in this area, you can see both an onion, the blue onion right over there, stuck in the ground, like all the other onions. And, well, all except one for now. And you can also see some other enemies and objects just lying around. And you can even see something that looks like an onion in the distance. Right over there. Looks sort of like the yellow onion. But it's not yellow. It doesn't really have any color on it. And this we later learn is called flailing, which is pretty much their version of garlic. Now what that does, it increases your maximum Pikmin capacity by 10. So 20 Pikmin would go up to 30 Pikmin capacity. Now people call this the dead onion. And I don't think so. Also, some of the classic enemies back again, and I already get hit in this playthrough. So, the enemies seem to do a ton of damage to the player itself, but not really, like they're not as dangerous in general, especially to your Pikmin. If you let Ochi attack something, the enemy will just focus on him and not eat a single Pikmin sometimes. Even when they're right next to him. Also, the fact that everything looks much more pristine and looks like there could be people around this area is very, very strange for this game. Figuring that in every other game, we've never seen much of humanity. But yeah, this is a full-on garden. And also you can see some of the treasures, like right here. And you can see that what looks to be an onion in the distance once again. And it does take some time to get over there and even to get the item, because then you need yellow Pikmin to get up to there because it's too high. And what I hate about the slight lock-on feature, like in Pikmin 3 I liked it. You could lock on if you looked at an enemy long enough. But now it just gives you slight aimbot, which is bad for these enemies that can die in one hit. And you track the enemies also while they're moving. And it sort of gets rid of the purpose of these enemies. Back during Pikmin 2, you would have to flail the controller and spam Pikmin all over the place to try and hit some of these enemies because they were so small and fast, and you needed to get them before they could kill a single Pikmin. And I wish they brought that back. Also, Bulborbs are pretty easy to take care of now, especially once you save a couple of survivors, because the day after you save at least like one person, Ochi becomes the bigger dog. Like overnight he matures into a much bigger dog, and then he can use that charge attack that we saw with Olimar and the intro segment, and it just obliterates Bulborbs. And then we have this the Frost Cavern, but we can't go in there because once the timer hits red, you can't go into a cave. Which, unlike Pikmin 2, you could do that even while the countdown was going down. And the countdown didn't even start at this point. And then we return to the ship, and we have to deposit a bunch more of the nuclear radiation in there. And the rescues and stuff stays the same. Also, the fact that they have enough rations. Like, when he was talking about the rations thing, something that is a little weird about that is that you are saving a lot of people now. It's not just your team and all of them are stranded here, and this is sort of a, you know, this is just the demo that I'm talking about. But apparently, tons and tons of people all over the place decided, hey, let's go to this uncharted planet with no equipment and anything, and all crash land here. So it's not just a double shipwreck. It is like tons and tons of people crashing here. Which makes you think that maybe this planet has some sort of planetary defense from the humans or something? Some defense grid or system? Also, you get the rant about why are you bringing me enemies now? That's not treasure. Back from Pikmin 2. And wow, they have some sparklium, aka radiation in them. And then you meet the ice Pikmin. Ice Pikmin are a little OP. There's sort of a version of the bitter spray that can turn enemies into rocks, except this is over time and you have to attack the enemies and your Pikmin could die through it, and they're limited like purple Pikmin, but they're both weaker but also a little bit more OP than the spray, because the spray you can only use one time, but you can insta use it. This is different. And here is the Flalick, which, now if you look at it, like, that looks like an even younger onion. Especially since every Flalick you find so far is buried underground, compared to the onions, which not all are buried underground. And people have argued that it has the same look as a Pikmin onion trying to produce seeds. But the difference is, this if an onion was a dead onion, it wouldn't try and produce anything. It would have no energy left or anything to do. This is trying to produce and trying to become an onion. That is what I think is happening. That is what I think the relation is between the two things. And they combine, the onion combines with it, just like any other onion, it would with any other onion. But instead of giving you a new Pikmin type, it would just increase your maximum supply, adding more power to the onion. And here's the guy who seems sort of like Kamek from pretty much every Mario series. Whenever this guy laughs in dialogue, I just picture Kamek laughing. And also, I wish they added the Pikmin command function, where you could like hit the arrow keys in the bottom left, and you could move your Pikmin around, sort of like the Pikmin 2 and 1 like command function. Charge is also back in this game, and you can get this thing called a charge horn. But I wish they had the Pikmin command button back. And they also seem to add a ton more commands, and now the bottom left is assigned to a ton of stuff. I just wish you could use the guide Pikmin ability again. And yeah, here is the maximum supply boost, and as you can see, the onion did grow a little bit. And while I didn't get the blue onion in this playthrough, it is completely possible. I sort of went through a bunch of weird upgrade paths for OT, so that was one of the reasons. And also, a bunch of stuff is locked until you get the the scientist dude, because then during that time you can't build bridges or anything because you have to get crystals, and then he has to give you the technology to use crystals. And this cave, the caves are a little bit weird. They can give you Pikmin before they're actually unlocked. So this cave gives you yellow Pikmin before the yellow onion. And your onion can store every type of Pikmin. It just can't produce any Pikmin type that it hasn't collected into an onion yet. Which I also think is a little strange for the because it's just not normal for the Pikmin series, but also it is useful. And also one of the reasons why you don't see me collect every single treasure that I find eventually, is that once you get 1,500 of that sparklium or nuclear radiation, you can't collect any more treasure. So, or you can't do any more days either. So you just have to sit there. And here's where we get the yellow onion, which is a pretty nice cutscene. But once you get that, it just stops you. It cuts you off of all of it. So if you want to play more and know more about the story, you have to not collect treasure, and it's sort of weird. And also, yes, that is literally a Pikmin person. That is literally the bad ending of Pikmin 1. And that's what this whole thing is inspired behind. This is the bad ending. And right here you can see the first time I used the Pikmin freeze. But the bad thing about it, just like the rock spray, and yeah, he's literally Kamek, but just like the rock spray, it will freeze your Pikmin. Or it will freeze the corpse, and once you kill it, it will shatter and you can't use it again. And here's all the upgrades for OT, and also a bunch of stuff you can buy with your upgrades. And also items which you can use, like. And also he talks about bridges a lot. And here's one of the interesting enemies. This enemy can charge you, and he caught me off surprise the first time I played, and I lost a couple of ice Pikmin, so I sort of hard cleared the last 2 minutes of the game and reset it. Now, I understand the reset process, but I also hate it because in the caves, I haven't tested this for sure, but I don't think you can get certain Pikmin if you go back into the caves again, which is sort of stupid, figuring you can't actually propagate ice Pikmin like every other Pikmin. And also, if you go to the gameplay guide, it shows you stuff in the future that you didn't know about. And here is what you can find with the drone. This is his crash spaceship. This is afterwards the prologue, which is what's at the very beginning of the game. But here's his ship once again. And after I completed the playthrough and I got a little bit more sparklium, it just locked me in the main menu and it just had me stand there. I really liked the demo, and there was a bunch of good things they did, but there was also stuff they could have done a little bit differently, like added more difficulty options, or maybe a setting where you could turn off the auto-aim, because it wasn't in the demo. And they could have brought it back to actual Pikmin 2. If you disconnect the controllers from the Nintendo Switch, it does have motion controls inside of there, so you could have brought back the original Pikmin 2 aiming instead. And there are a lot of games that use those motion controls, so I'm sort of surprised they also didn't use that. They just sort of made it back to how it was during Pikmin 3 Deluxe and stuff. And I did like the old Wii U nunchucks ability. Wii and Wii U nunchucks. But just, this game was good. I did like it, but there was just some other stuff that, was sort of weird. Figuring all the other games were just made it one certain way, and now they're making it a different way. But with that out of the way, I hope you guys buy this game. It does look good, and I think people should buy this game. It's a small series that is very good for its small amount of people who like playing these games. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to like, subscribe, and check out some of these other videos you'll be seeing right now. Bye, guys.